Today we're going to be working on something to help us really understand the diffusion of religion. And this is all part of our Unit 3 in AP Human Geography. And these are our objectives. We are going to review our Unit 3 religion module with more emphasis this time on the actual hearths and the contemporary diffusion to make sure that the information that we are taking in matches up to the rigor of the AP College Board exam, because we saw in our pretest that yes, we learned about religion, but we needed to take a deeper dive into understanding those college level expectations of this unit. Okay? So we're going to use 8 proven reading strategies and 2 articles that I've found for us to make sure that we really understand this diffusion of religion. And then we're going to synthesize the information from the articles into a graphic organizer to prepare for the assessment retake, which is going to be on Friday. We've got a writing utensil, highlighters, post-it note. Everybody got at least one post-it note? And the graphic organizers that I created for you, the 2 articles, and then our diffusion map activity. And remember, we're going to work on that a little bit today, but then you will finish it at home and it will be due on Wednesday at the end of class. And then we need to have 3 working groups, which we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think we're ready. All right, so let's talk about these 8 reading strategies. So from my class that I'm taking right now, I printed you guys a list of those 8 proven reading strategies. So let's talk about it. As we go through it, if you see one that you use in other classes or that you're really familiar with, put a check by it. Okay, let's see what you guys are most familiar with. So one is using existing knowledge, right? So using what you already have in your head. Next one is making connections. So we talk about that in AP Psychology a lot, right, Violet? We talk about how if you think of your own examples of things as you're reading and you make connections to your life in the real world, that helps you understand what you're reading. Asking questions. Asking questions before you read, during the reading process, writing those questions down, and then after, asking those good questions. And that doesn't mean just the teacher asking you questions. What it's talking about is you formulating your own really good questions as you're reading. So being curious about what you're reading. And then creating mental images, another tool that we get from AP Psychology that we learn about all the time. And there's all kinds of data and research to prove that people that visualize as they're reading or listening have a better chance of recalling the information and remembering it. Drawing inferences. Remember we did that yesterday a little bit. Like, reading kind of between the lines and pulling in some of that existing knowledge and making inferences about the material. Determine importance. What do you guys think that means? Or can you give me an example of when you're reading, what that looks like?
So if there's like key ideas, like for this time, this event happened, and then there's just like, oh, well, this also happened, but it was less, or it's really main events and not the just filler words. And
Good. And if you guys think about the bear hug notes that we do, that's all about determining importance, because when you guys read the material and watch your College Board videos at home, I want to prepare you for college and to teach you how to decide what's important to put in your notes, right? And that's a skill that you develop. And so that's why it's on this list as well. And then synthesize the information. So synthesize, right? So seeking the information, pulling in what you know, what you're reading, the information from 2 different articles, putting it together to help build that knowledge. And then monitor and repair comprehension. So those questions that we mentioned that you're asking yourself as you're reading and you're kind of curious, maybe you think you know the answer, but as you read more information, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's not quite right. Let me fix it. And here's what's really cool about this. These strategies will help you whether you're reading fiction or nonfiction or informative information like we're reading. So in my class I'm taking right now, a lot of the videos I watched, it was like elementary, and they were really cute, and there's this one teacher that was fantastic, but they were talking about fictional stories. But everything that she was mentioning and everything that's on this list is going to help you guys with informative reading passages as well. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and move on. All right, so existing knowledge. So right now, on the back of one of the pieces of paper or scratch paper, write down every type of diffusion that you remember from Unit 3. We talked about different types of diffusion. So go ahead and do a little brain dump and try to remember as much as you can. You were able to write down 4 different types. All right, okay. All right, so Mika, what'd you get?
Do you want me to read all of them or just?
Yeah, let's see.
Hierarchical, stimulus, contagious, and relocation.
Good. So remember we talked about relocation and expansion. Relocation is moving physically from one place to another. And then expansion is diffusion, or all those less tangible things like, customs and beliefs and ideas. And there were 3 kinds. And Mika mentioned them. So we have hierarchical, right? Who can explain what hierarchical is real quick? Go ahead.
You have someone really famous or that has really high power, and they do something cool, and everybody else wants to do that.
Cool. All right, then we have stimulus. What's stimulus?
Isn't that where someone takes something and they change it up slightly?
Right, just a little bit. And then contagious. What's contagious? Anybody else? What's contagious?
It's when someone does it and then everybody else does it, so it spreads.
Right, but it spreads from place to place, right? It would have to, like, from this person to this person, from this country to this country. Okay? So that's a pretty good review of diffusion. And now remember that today we're going to be applying that to religion. So now, write down as much as you can remember about the world religions we studied. I'm only going to give you a few seconds, so go. You could just write down different religions you remember. You could write down different types. Remember there were 2 main types. There's a type that wants people to join, and then there's a type that you pretty much have to be born into. Just shout out some stuff. What do you guys remember? Go. Universalizing. Good. Ethnic religions. What else? Monotheism, polytheism, atheism, I heard. What else? Agnostics. Keep going. Christianity. Sikhism. Judaism. Hinduism. Buddhism. Okay. Not bad, not bad. So you guys, I could tell by how fast and furious your pens were writing, we learned a lot in Unit 3. We learned a lot. But we learned from our quiz that we took Friday, we need to dive deeper. And so that is what these articles are going to help us with. We're going to make sure that we are learning that college level material. Okay. Alrighty, so write a question on your Post-it note now that you still have about diffusion of religion. So think of a question or even something you need clarified about religion, particularly the diffusion of religion. Like maybe you don't know the heart of Hinduism. Maybe you can't remember that. Maybe you're wondering where Shintoism fits in because we didn't discuss it enough, right? Something like that. That's a good place to put it. Let's go stick it over here under the Be Smart, Be Kind. Just stick it on the glass when you finish your question. Oh, yes. All right, now the fun begins. So I'm going to give you some time now to read the articles by yourself. And that main article that I was showing you guys, not the Tannenbaum one, but the characteristics and distribution. I want you to start with that article. I'm going to give you 5 to 10 minutes to read over that article. And I want you to use your highlighters. Remember, one of the reading strategies was determining importance. So highlight the things that you feel are the most pertinent and helpful for our understanding of diffusion. And then I want you, this is really important, and I'll leave it on the board so you can see, I want you to make at least one connection that the text has, like one connection to the real world or one connection to your life. And then another one that's not on here, that's part of our strategies that I think is really important, make sure that you ask at least one question off in the margin that you have. It might be answered later as you're reading, but that's okay. All right, so go ahead now. I'm going to give you, we'll kind of gauge it, but at least 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to read and do these things on your own. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next phase. Hopefully you guys found the information in the article helpful, giving us a better, more clear understanding of the diffusion of religion. And so now I want you to work in your groups to share those annotations and questions that you wrote down off to the side. So let's start there. Within your groups, talk about the questions you had as you were reading and share some of the highlights that you made.
There was one thing, my only real question was what was because of course because we didn't go over that fully in the lesson, so that was what was important. I did find that out.
Like what would happen
No, that should
was it like that and maybe it was like a religion.
So I know I found it out. I trust. Please. Okay. Religion were like
For example, like what's a religion versus what's like a way of life?
around the end of the 15th century through spiritual teachings of the first Sikh grew
So it's kind of curious. It just
yeah, and that was from
Okay, so now that you've had some time to share some of your discoveries, your highlights, your questions, now what I would like you to do within your groups, help each other to complete the graphic organizer that I've given you that really focuses on that information that we need for the retest. The origin, the hearth, and the contemporary diffusion of those religions. So I'm going to give you some time to work on those charts together. All right, you guys are doing awesome. So now that we've had time to work in our group and complete that graphic organizer, now I would like to hear from a couple groups as far as your one really cool insight or surprising connection that you made after reading the articles. So do you have a couple groups that would want to do that? Okay, Mika, go ahead and share your connection.
Yeah, so something that I found was really interesting is it talked a little bit about indigenous religion, right, that goes with the ethnic. And something I noticed, right, so for example, they had Shintoism in there and Taoism and Taoism. And what I noticed is those religions tend to be a little more having animism, meaning that they believe that objects themselves have spirits and feelings. And you can see that a lot in a lot of indigenous native religions, where they also believe that lots of things such as like rocks, water, they all have spirits to them. And I thought that that was a really interesting difference compared to like Christianity or more monotheistic religions, which might believe in just one higher power.
Cool. I love that. And here's what I'm seeing. Hopefully you guys have had the same experience. Whereas at the beginning of Unit 3, had we started with these articles, we may not have been able to dive as deep or get as much. But when we read these kind of articles, after we talk about some vocabulary and animism and things like that, these articles help you make a bigger connection to what we're supposed to be learning. So very, very good. All right, is there another group that wants to share out some kind of insight? Violet, go ahead.
One thing I found like that they were all similar, that they had everyone that wanted to live in peace and that they wanted to just like get rid of like evil spirits and like
Okay.
just live
Yeah,
peacefully.
like they wanted to find divinity and like live peacefully, and they based a lot of religions base their morals off of their religion.
Okay. So you're seeing how a lot of these world religions are connected, and you're relating that to real world questions and things that a lot of us are wondering all the time, right? Very, very good. You guys are doing a fantastic job with this, and I'm really proud of you. So one thing I want to do to wrap it up, since it's getting close to the end of the class, is I want to look at those original questions that you had before you started reading. And let's see which ones we got answered and which ones we might still need to go into as we finish up this unit. All right, here. So what is the heart of Buddhism? Did we get that answered?
South Asia.
Okay, so let's just go thumbs up, thumbs down for time's sake, and we'll go back over them. So, let's see, another really big question. Ooh, I love this question. How different would diffusion of religion be without trade? Did the articles address that? No? Okay, so we're gonna keep that on our board, keep working on it. All right, how did so many religions start in one country? Did we get that answered? Okay, and what about, what is Sikhism? Did that get answered?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Where would Shintoism fit when it comes to categorizing religions? In other words, is it universalizing or ethnic? Did that get answered?
Yes.
Okay. Why can't people just get along, even if they believe different things? That's a deep question. Did the article address that?
No.
But you could make some inferences, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, you guys are so smart. Why do some religions not want to be universalizing, and why don't they want it to spread? That's another really deep question. Did these articles go into it? Not really?
But
Not really.
it can be like inferred a bit on their beliefs.
Okay, good, good. These are fantastic questions. Hearth of Sikhism, did that get addressed yet?
India subcontinent.
And there was a syncretism, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and, good, all right, good. All right, so I want to tell you guys that you did a fantastic job. Remember that the rest of this packet is due Wednesday. You will have some time to work on it in class, but you need to get started on it at home. And hopefully these articles will help us prepare for our retake, which is on Friday. Okay, good job, you guys. Thank you so much.